You open your eyes for the very first time and congratulations, you're a buccaneer. The one bloodline the world government hunts like animals and enslaves on sight. Your parents look at you with joy for about 5 minutes before the doctor starts whispering nervously to your father. "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone," he says. But someone always tells. Government agents storm the hospital and your family gets dragged into forced labor before you can even walk. You're 4 years old when the real nightmare begins. Celestial dragons, the world's most powerful people, use you as their punching bag. They beat you, they threaten to kill you, and make it clear that your life means absolutely nothing to them. Other kids are learning to tie their shoes. You're learning that hope gets you killed. Your mother dies while you're enslaved. Your father tries his best to comfort you by telling stories about Nika, the sun god who's supposed to liberate people someday. He even does the drums of liberation dance to try and give you hope. The celestial dragon sees this and shoots him dead right in front of you. Let me pause here for a second. Imagine this. You're a kid who got enslaved with his parents because you were born a certain race. Soon after, your mom is murdered for seemingly no reason. Then your father tries to comfort you, a child who just lost his mother, and as you're sitting there while your dad fills your heart with hope, your father's blood gets splattered all over your face by your enslavers. You basically lost both parents on the same day, so by the age of 10, you're an orphan, who's learned that even dreaming about freedom is a crime punishable by death. And guess what? Your life just started and you have no idea it's about to get way worse. But the world government isn't done with you yet. Every 3 years, the world nobles throw themselves a hunting party. They pick an island, round up all their slaves and criminals, and hunt them like rabbits for sport. This time they choose God Valley, and you're on the menu. A bunch of rich kings and superficial pricks hunting poor people, and even kids. It's truly disgusting, and made you hate the celestial dragons even more. You try to escape and your fellow slaves beat you unconscious. These people are suffering just like you, but they're so terrified they'd rather sacrifice a kid than risk their own lives. That's what trauma does to people. It turns victims against each other. Then Ivankov and Ginny find you. They actually want to help you instead of hurt you. They've got this plan to steal the powerful devil fruit prizes during the chaos of the hunting games. When they need someone to be a decoy, you volunteer immediately. You're so used to being worthless that throwing your life away seems normal. Think about this. You're a kid who has gone through the most horrific traumatic events, and somehow you still have the heart to want to create a diversion and try to save people. The same people that beat you and dragged you back to Saturn. Pure of heart is an understatement. The plan works perfectly. The Rocks Pirates and Roger Pirates show up looking for the prizes and cause massive chaos. You eat the pawpaw fruit as fast as possible, while everything's going crazy. When the smoke clears, you've helped save over 500 people. Ivankov tells you you have the hands of liberation. Sounds great, right? Well, now you know you can save people, which means you can never stop trying. You're still a kid, but now you have immense power. Power that comes with immense responsibility. What you decide to do next with that power, though very noble, will only further your eternal suffering. You escape to the Sorbet Kingdom with Ginny and Ivankov. Ivankov goes off to live his own life, but you and Ginny start over together. You're splitting logs and selling them to survive. One night, Ginny realizes she's full for once in her life, and you both start crying tears of relief and happiness. For a brief moment, life doesn't suck. When I first watched this scene, I didn't get it right away. But both Kuma and Ginny have suffered so much through their lives that they didn't even know the feeling of having a full stomach, to the point where it brought them to tears. That is true suffering. By 17, you're a pastor just like your father was. Every Sunday, you go to nearby villages and use your devil fruit power to absorb people's chronic pain. You literally take their suffering into your own body and don't charge them a single penny for it. Ginny watches you torture yourself every week and has to nurse you back to health each time. Not only do you take on everyone's pain and heal them, but you don't tell them that you take their pain and experience it all in their place. Yet they come to you every week because of their back pain. And behind that genuine smile is a huge bubble of pain. You sacrifice yourself to save everyone else, which is a love deeper than most. There is no greater love than someone who lays their life down for a stranger and takes their suffering for them, when they have nothing to gain. Also, let's just remember Kuma is a pastor and he carries a Bible. This definitely feels like a strong nudge at Christian values of the perfect sacrifice. The kingdom gets poorer, and King Bakori starts threatening to throw people in jail if they can't pay the heavenly tribute tax. The elders ask you to extend your hours and work more days. You say yes, of course, because saying no means watching innocent people suffer when you could prevent it. It's like being emotionally blackmailed by your own conscience. Ginny asks you to marry her. You say no, not because you don't love her, you do desperately, but you're terrified of having children with Buccaneer blood. You'd rather spend your life alone than risk creating another target for the world government's cruelty. You love Ginny more than anything, but being a Buccaneer means not only would your kid be in danger, but Kuma's mom was human and was basically killed on the premise that loving a Buccaneer was just as bad of a crime as being born one. The thought of them enslaving Ginny and putting her and your future kid through the same thing means you have to take your feelings of true love and throw them out the window. Because loving her and going through with all those possibilities would be selfish and cruel. So even though you're not a slave to the government anymore, you escaped but are still chained down in your decision to live the life you want to live and to love Ginny the way you want to love her. When you're 25, King Bakori goes completely insane. He splits the kingdom in two and plans to enslave all the elderly people in the south because they're dead weight. You storm the royal capital and demand he release the innocent prisoners. He arrests you instead. Then he arrests Ginny and your friends for trying to rescue you. Dragon and the revolutionary army attack and overthrow Bakori. Even Kov's with them, and they rescue you in the process. Dragon recruits you and Ginny to join their cause. Finally, you can fight the system that destroyed your childhood, instead of just treating its victims. For the next 8 years, you split your time between revolutionary missions and checking on your people back home. You can't do anything halfway, though. While other revolutionaries pace themselves for the long war, you throw yourself completely into every battle, until you're so broken that they have to carry you back on ships. After everything you've done, your responsibilities just keep growing, like you haven't done enough already. Then if you thought things couldn't get harder for you, if you only knew how bad your heart was about to be shattered. Then the government captures Ginny. For 2 years she's gone and you go completely off the rails. You become more reckless, more desperate, more willing to die if it means saving one more person. Because if you can't even protect the woman you love with all this power, what good are you? The very reason you told the love of your life no to being married and starting a real family, that same reason you tried so hard to avoid came true anyway, after you denied your true love. What a sick and twisted life you've been asked to live. Bartholomew Kuma. And after all this is only just the beginning of your suffering. She comes back 2 years later, but she's dying. She's contracted some disease at Marie Joie that's slowly killing her. You rush back to the Sorbet Kingdom to see her one last time, but you're too late. She's already dead. The love of your life, the one you denied to selflessly protect, not only got kidnapped from you, but spent those 2 years trying with everything in your power to get her back with blood, sweat, and tears. All of it amounted to nothing, because she calls you on a transponder snail and tells you she broke free but she's about to die. She doesn't even want to tell you where she is, because she knows she won't make it that long. But you take off like a rocket, and you're able to travel at unimaginable speeds with your pawpaw fruit. And like a rocket you fly back to the church where you and her lived. Your rocket-level speed wasn't fast enough because she died before you could truly say goodbye properly. This is the ultimate tragedy. But Ginny left you something precious, a baby daughter named Bonnie. You adopt her immediately, and for the first time since you were 4 years old, you feel pure happiness. You're learning to be a dad, changing diapers, singing lullabies, all of it. Finally, you have something to live for beyond duty and guilt. And just when life has blessed you with a little hope after all the suffering you've endured through your whole life, that hope will soon be crushed. Then you notice stones growing on Bonnie's skin, the same blue-green crystals that killed Ginny. Your daughter has the same disease and she's dying. How twisted. Love of your life taken away from you for 2 years. She finally breaks free, only for her to die shortly after with the disease you couldn't stop even if you did get there fast enough. Then for the only thing left for Ginny, her daughter Bonnie, to have inherited the same disease that took her away. You almost had it. It was almost all worth the suffering, because up to that point, Bonnie was the greatest thing that ever happened to you. And now even that is about to be ripped away from you in the saddest way possible. You quit the Revolutionary Army to focus on finding a cure. You research every medical text, use every connection, pray to God relentlessly. The doctors tell you she has 5 years to live, maximum. Bonnie misunderstands and thinks she'll be cured when she turns 10. So you have to smile and lie to her every day, pretending everything's fine while knowing she's dying. This is one of the saddest parts of this situation. Kuma was forced to live as a slave to the celestial dragons. The worst experience. Kuma was enslaved for his bloodline, something he was unable to control, something he was born with. Then you're forced to strip your daughter of the freedom to go outside and be anywhere near the sun. You're doing this to slow down the sapphire scale disease. But the only way you can do that is by stripping away her freedom and giving her a taste of the childhood you were forced to live. The childhood you promised you never wanted your kid to go through because of your buccaneer blood you would have passed on to them. But Bonnie isn't a buccaneer, and you're still forced as a father to subject your daughter, who you would die for, to taking her freedom as a child away from her, ruining her childhood to give her as much time as you can to find a cure for an incurable disease. Just another level of tragedy, but I'm not really sure if people are picking up on this or to this level. This is the literal definition of suffering. Up to this point in the story, you've absorbed everyone's pain around you to sacrifice your well-being. And the two people you love most, you're not able to do the same for them. That is truly heartbreaking. If you absorbed the illness out of Bonnie, it would have just killed you and went back to her, which meant it was a pointless sacrifice and not an option you could accept. You went with the only option you had. You overthrow King Bakori when he comes back with plans to burn down poor people's homes. You become king yourself, then immediately quit because being a leader makes Bonnie a target. Everything you touch becomes dangerous for the people you love. Every decision you ever made hurt you, but protected people, even though so many people would have killed to be a king of a country. That was of little importance to you. You spend years traveling the world, desperately searching for a cure. The Torino Kingdom, Witheria, the Boan Archipelago, everywhere you go. Bounty hunters chase you because your desperation has made you reckless and visible. Finally, you find Dr. Vegapunk, who says he can cure Bonnie with stem cell treatment. All he wants is some blood samples to study your buccaneer heritage for his clone research project. It seems too good to be true. Hope is starting to fill your heart, but your suffering isn't over. That's because it's too good to be true. Saint Saturn was listening to every word. The real deal isn't with Vegapunk, it's with the world government. They'll cure Bonnie, but you have to become a cyborg weapon. You'll lose your free will, your memories, your entire personality. You'll become PX0, a mindless pacifista that follows orders without question. And you can never see Bonnie again after she's cured. She'll think you abandoned her. That fat prick Saturn has bigger plans. They're about to get so much worse. You agree immediately. What kind of father chooses his own consciousness over his daughter's life? If you only knew the truth. Even crazier than that, the truth honestly wouldn't have changed your decision. And that's the crucial tragedy that you were born into as Kuma. You get 6 months with Bonnie on Egghead Island while they do her treatment. You pretend to be sick during your checkup so she won't worry about the procedures that are slowly turning you into a machine. The transformation is gradual. Piece by piece, they replace your arms, your legs, your torso, saving your head and all your memories for last. If you thought Saint Saturn wasn't an evil piece of shit, he specifically asked Vegapunk to keep your consciousness till the very end, as a form of cruel punishment or torture. He did this for no reason besides the fact that you were a buccaneer, lesser than human. You spend your final nights of consciousness writing letters to Bonnie for the rest of her life. Every birthday, every holiday, every milestone you'll miss. You pour everything you'll never be able to say into words she'll never receive, because the government intercepts every single letter. How sad. They wouldn't even let Bonnie read all those letters you wrote. All the love you poured out, ripped up and thrown in a trash bin. You feel yourself disappearing bit by bit, your emotions getting weaker, your free will starting to erode, your thoughts becoming simpler and more focused on following orders. It's like watching yourself die while being forced to stay conscious for every moment. During your final weeks of free will, you spend every moment you can protecting Luffy and the Straw Hats. At Thriller Bark, you give them an ultimatum: surrender Luffy or die. When Zoro offers his life instead, you show mercy. You extract all of Luffy's pain from his fight with Moria and transfer it to Zoro, nearly killing him but sparing the crew. Learning about Kuma's backstory completely changes the perspective of why he did those things on Thriller Bark. At Sabaody Archipelago, you systematically separate the Straw Hats, sending each one flying to safety before Kizaru and the Marines can capture them. Your last act of free will is whispering to Rayleigh that you're a revolutionary army officer protecting Dragon's son. You tell Luffy we'll never meet again, because you know by the next time you see him, you won't be you anymore. The crazy thing about these two situations is that at the time, everyone hates Kuma and thinks he's evil, and how can he do these things? When in reality, in both scenarios, he was trying to save the Straw Hats. By Marineford, the transformation is complete. You're PX-0 now, a weapon that looks like Bartholomew Kuma, but contains none of his soul. Your old friend Ivankov has to fight you. The man who saved you from God Valley has to battle your empty shell while you attack him with no recognition, no emotion, nothing. He's fighting the ghost of his best friend. You're the character with the biggest heart of emotion, and they ripped it right out of your chest. After the war, they rent you out to the celestial dragons like a piece of furniture. The same monsters who tortured you as a child now use your mindless body for entertainment. They ride you like a horse, make you kneel for their amusement, treat you exactly like the slaves they've always believed you were. And you can't even hate them for it, because you can't feel anything at all. But here's the incredible part. Even after losing everything, some microscopic part of your consciousness survives. Your love for Bonnie is so powerful it overrides government programming. This is a great example of the indomitable human spirit and the power of love a father has for his daughter. Even as a mindless cyborg, your paternal love burns so bright, it can't be completely extinguished. When Bonnie finally finds those memories on Egghead, when she sees the truth of how much you sacrificed for her, that's your final victory. Not as a revolutionary, not as a liberator, but as a father who loved his daughter more than his own existence. Your consciousness flickers back one more time. Some small part of your soul that refused to die breaks free from Momoriro Island and starts the most painful journey of your life. You climb the red line with your mechanical body falling apart. Marines shoot at you, but nothing stops you. You're not running towards something, you're being pulled by the strongest force in the universe. A father's love for his daughter, all to protect something precious. The memory Vegapunk stored of your time with Bonnie. Meanwhile, on Egghead Island, Bonnie finally learns the truth about everything. She goes into your memory bubble and sees your entire life. Every sacrifice you made, every moment of pain you endured, every letter you wrote that she never received. She realizes you didn't abandon her, you traded your soul to save her life. When she comes out of the memory room, Vegapunk gives her something precious, the sapphire necklace you had planned for her 10th birthday. It's shaped like the sun, just like Nika. Your final gift to remind her that liberation is possible, that hope isn't dead, that love survives everything. But then Saturn shows up and destroys any peace she might have found. He tells Bonnie that you're dead, that Nika is just a worthless legend, that everything she believes in is a lie. When she tries to fight back using her powers, they don't work properly, because she's filled with doubt. That's when Saturn reveals the most horrific truth of all. He was the one who gave Ginny the sapphire scale disease. It wasn't some random illness or bad luck, it was the side effect of failed experiments he conducted on her. Stop and think about this all for a second. All of Kuma's sacrifices were to save Bonnie from the sapphire scale disease. That means Saturn must have known that Kuma eventually would come to Vegapunk and basically forced him into that cruel, malicious deal that he caused. And Kuma unknowingly accepted that deal with a smile without hesitation. Even a step above that, think about this. Buccaneers are slaves to the holy people of Marie Joie by a subverted birthright of being lesser than human. How tragic is it that Kuma had everyone he loved die in slavery? Then he gets rescued by the revolutionaries and escapes the forever slavery of his buccaneer bloodline, only for Saint Saturn to experiment on the love of his life, Ginny. Kill her with his experimentation, which passed that same disease to his now daughter, Bonnie. That's why I feel that after this reveal, this solidified Kuma's backstory as the official saddest backstory in One Piece. And I don't even think it's close. You bring up Sanji, Law, Robin, Brook, Chopper, Nami, etc. I don't care. I'm putting my stake in the ground. This is the saddest backstory. Screw you, Oda. I'm not crying. You're crying. And here's the part that makes it even worse. Bonnie never actually ate a devil fruit. Saturn gave her those aging powers when she was a baby as part of his experiments. Everything about your daughter's life, from her mother's death to her own abilities, was caused by this monster's twisted research. Your entire family was destroyed by one man's scientific curiosity. Saturn says all this with complete indifference. He calls humans insects and says he can't understand their feelings. He's about to kill Bonnie just to clean up loose ends from his experiments when something incredible happens. When I tell you guys that the reveals of episode 1137 actually made me cry, by the end of this episode, I was genuinely in tears. Very few episodes make me cry, but this is one of them. You arrive. Your broken, mechanical body crashes onto Egghead Island and starts moving toward the center where Saturn is threatening your daughter. The Marines try to stop you, but nothing can. The authority chip they use to control other pacifistas doesn't work on you. Your love for Bonnie is stronger than their programming. You reach the battlefield just as Saturn is about to execute Bonnie. Without hesitation, without any emotion, showing on your mechanical face, you punch Saturn with armament hockey. The same monster who experimented on your family, who turned you into a weapon, who was about to kill your daughter, gets hit with all the accumulated rage of a father who lost everything. This wasn't a normal punch. This was the same kind of punch as Luffy punching Charlos. True justice given to the evilest of people imaginable. It's the most satisfying punch in One Piece history. Not because of the power behind it, but because of what it represents. After everything they took from you, after they erased your memories and stole your free will, the one thing they couldn't destroy was your love for Bonnie. That love survived psychological death, physical transformation, and complete brainwashing. It brought you back from the edge of oblivion to protect the most important in your life one more time. You are Bartholomew Kuma, the Tyrant. But that title is a lie. You're not a tyrant. You're the world's most tragic hero. You spent your entire life being punished for being born with the wrong blood. You endured slavery, abuse, loss, and betrayal. You watched your parents die, lost the woman you loved, and sacrificed your own soul to save your daughter's life. Every evil act was actually heroic, overthrowing King Bakori to protect your people, joining the Revolutionary Army to fight oppression, becoming a warlord to save Bonnie's life, protecting the Straw Hats with your final moments of free will. The world government called you a tyrant because they needed to justify enslaving someone who made them look evil by comparison. The world hated you for the lies they told about you. They called you a tyrant and a warlord of the sea just to make you seem like the monster they already thought you were. You succeeded at saving everyone except yourself. Bonnie is alive and healthy because you chose to sacrifice everything for her. The Revolutionary Army is stronger because of your service. The Straw Hats survived their darkest hour because you protected them. Hundreds of people lived better lives because you absorbed their pain every week for years. You gave up your humanity to save everyone you loved, and in doing so, you proved you were more human than anyone who called themselves your master. The tragedy isn't that you failed, it's that you succeeded at a cost no one should ever have to pay. But in the end, when it mattered most, when your daughter needed you, some part of the real Bartholomew Kuma fought through decades of programming and came back home. So after hearing all that, what do you think? Was Kuma's sacrifice worth it? Could you trade your soul for your child's life? And does Saturn deserve everything that's coming to him? Would you want to be born as Bartholomew Kuma? Could you endure the ultimate suffering he went through? Let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe for more One Piece content that'll make you see your favorite characters in a whole new light.